All right, summer is here and it's honestly the perfect time to reinvent yourself, whether you're in school, working a full-time job, or off entirely. These next 3 months can be our chance to redesign our lifestyle and come back in the fall as a completely new person. But how can we balance being productive and working towards our goals while still enjoying the summer months? It's easy to get obsessed with goals and productivity and lose sight of the fact that we're doing all of this to be able to enjoy our life. But productivity and progressing towards your goals doesn't have to come at the expense of having fun this summer. You can do both. In this video, I'll show you a step-by-step process to create your own summer daily routine that allows you to stay productive while still enjoying your life. This summer, I'm staying in New York City and I want to make the most of my time here, so I'm aiming to both explore and enjoy the city while also making significant progress in my YouTube channel and business. I think balancing these two activities might be a little tricky at first, but it's definitely doable with a solid daily routine. So I'll also share some aspects of my current routine and some practical strategies and tips that you could apply to your own life. Step 1, set goals. So it might sound a little cliche, but first establishing some kind of goal is so crucial because it'll create the foundation for which we build the rest of our routine and lifestyle on. So identify what you want to achieve this summer. What would you like your life to look like in 3 months from now? This could involve progressing in your studies, advancing some kind of personal project, business pursuit, fitness, deepening relationships, etc. And I would try to limit it to at most 3 main goals for the summer, maybe 1 for each major pillar of your life, like work/career, health, and relationships. If you do any more than that, you'll probably be spread just too thin and won't make significant progress in anything. So for example, I have my main 3 goals written down. 1 is to upload weekly videos to my YouTube channel where I intentionally try to improve something each video. 2 is to exercise daily, 6 days a week, weightlifting, and 1 day of something like walking, biking, cardio. And 3, to plan a fun outing every weekend with my girlfriend to further strengthen our relationship and experience living in New York City. Step 2 is to design your morning routine. Once we establish some goals and know the general direction we want to take this summer, I like to start by planning out my mornings. For me, the one thing that I found that has the biggest impact on the quality of my entire day is how the morning goes. If you win the morning, you win the day. Yes, of course, just because your morning doesn't go well doesn't mean that there's no hope for the rest of the day. I've just found that for me, if my morning does go well, then I'm way more likely to enjoy the rest of the day. Then I'll quickly glance through my vision for the future, goals, projects, and do a few minutes of gratitude journaling. This whole process takes me about 30 minutes first thing in the morning, but it's well worth the time investment because it just makes me feel good and motivated to attack the rest of the day. But just because this routine works well for me doesn't mean that it's going to be the perfect routine for you. I encourage you to test things out and try things for yourself and develop your own system. But honestly, just do things that make you feel good first thing in the morning and excited to go about the rest of your day. That's the biggest thing for me. I just do my best to avoid any potential sources of stress or anxiety, like checking my text messages, social media, or email or something. Should I wake up at the same time every day? What about weekends? Don't worry, we'll talk about the timing of everything in our daily routine later in the video. And if you found these tips helpful so far, I want to see more content on productivity, lifestyle optimization, and building your ideal future, click subscribe right now. Step 3, morning deep work. Immediately after your morning routine, I'd highly recommend that you dedicate at least 1 hour of deep, focused time towards your most important goal from step 1. Now, if you're not sure what your most important goal is, I would look at the goals that you listed out and imagine that you could magically snap your fingers and instantly accomplish one of the goals that you wrote down. Which one would you choose? Which of these, if you achieved it, would have the greatest positive impact on your entire life? For me, I'd pick my YouTube related goal because I think that given my current situation in life, significant growth in my YouTube channel and business could result in massive lifestyle improvements, financial freedom, location freedom, time freedom, all that good stuff, which would allow me to progress further in other areas of my life like health and relationships. Now, why do I think that? For me, at least, it's so crucial for this deep work focus session to be done first thing in the morning? Well, there's a few different reasons, and the first one is that the morning time tends to be the most consistent time of day. This means that it'll be way easier to build that consistent habit of doing deep work first thing in the morning, as opposed to in the afternoons or evenings. It's a lot more likely that unexpected things will come up or some people will bother or interrupt you. Next, my energy levels also tend to be the highest in the morning. Now, if you're typically not a morning person, you might be dismissing this entire step, but I promise you that this is something that can be changed over time. I used to hate the mornings. I was definitely not a morning person. I could barely get up before 9 a.m. But now, over time, I've learned to love the mornings and waking up early and getting straight to work. Reason number 3 is that doing the most difficult work first thing in the morning will make the rest of the day seem easy. Now, assuming you pick the most important goal and are doing the right tasks during this deep work session, it should feel kind of difficult and like there's some sort of resistance to actually doing the work. This is a good thing. This is a sign that you picked an activity that will lead to significant growth in your life. The reason it feels difficult is because it's kind of out of your comfort zone, and leaving our comfort zone is really the key to progress and growth in anything. And finally, getting that important work done earlier in the day frees up the later parts of the day to relax and just enjoy life. And this is probably the most important reason or factor for making this whole productive summer routine actually work and actually something that we can stick to, because by getting the important work done on our goals earlier in the day, it allows us to switch into this fun mode, relaxation mode, where we spend high quality time with our friends and family and go out and do fun stuff in the evenings without feeling guilty about it, because we know that we've already gotten the important work done on our personal goals earlier in the day. So what should we actually do during these morning focus sessions? Well, I think it's super important to establish some kind of guideline for what specific tasks we'll actually do during a deep work block. So we want to avoid that common scenario where we sit down to do some deep work on our YouTube channel or whatever it is, and instead of picking the most important tasks that actually make a significant difference in our progress, like recording a YouTube video or scripting a YouTube video, our brain starts to make up excuses and reasons to do kind of like easier tasks that don't actually move the needle forward, like reorganizing my B-roll footage library or color coding my Notion template, or doing completely unrelated tasks that I normally never would have done, like washing the dishes or like cleaning the floors or something. So apply the 80-20 rule and list out 3 or so activities that actually count as deep work. And these should be the tasks that actually make a difference on whether or not you progress towards that goal you set. And there are many ways to identify what these tasks are, but lately I've been liking the method of thinking, what do I feel the most resistance to doing in this moment? You know, what's that elephant in the room, that task in the back of our mind that we know deep down that we need to do, but we've kind of been procrastinating on it? More often than not, that is the most important task that will have the greatest positive impact on our progress. Once you've narrowed it down to, I'd say no more than like 3 main tasks, I just write it down on a sticky note to remind yourself of what your options are when you sit down to do some deep work. Step 4 is to incorporate physical activity. I think dedicating 1 hour a day to some form of exercise is a non-negotiable, and given the countless benefits to our physical health, mental health, longevity, productivity, energy levels, cognitive performance, etc., it's one of the best time investments that we can make, in my opinion. Now, if your brain is immediately thinking, okay, well, I don't have time for that, I'm too busy, I have more important things to do, I would encourage you to take a step back, zoom out, and realize that by neglecting your health, you are indirectly neglecting whatever else it is that you are too busy with. In my experience, better health makes everything in life a little better, and worse health makes everything in life a little worse. Step 5 is to create an evening routine. If we end the day feeling stressed and get a poor night's sleep, it'll be that much more difficult to make the most of the next day. So I personally like to dedicate my evenings to relaxing and spending high quality time with friends and family. Right before I shift into this relaxation mode, I like to just quickly plan out the tasks that I'm going to tackle for the next day. I used to do this like a little later in the evening, like right before bed, but then I found that I would just start to get flooded with all these thoughts in my brain about the different things that I was going to do the next day, and it would make it kind of difficult for me to relax and go to sleep. Again, when you're watching any sort of video like this, it's so important to actually try things and test things out for yourself and figure out what works best for you and your current situation and your daily life commitments, rather than assuming that some other random person who's living their own life, somehow their routine will be the perfect one for you too. It might be, but until you try things out for yourself, it should really just be treated as an idea or inspiration for things to incorporate into your own life systems. Step 6 is to allocate time to enjoy life. This is, of course, important year-round, but even more so during summer, because when we see everyone else going out and having a fun time, the last thing we want to do is lock ourselves inside and never make time to enjoy our life. But at the same time, we don't want to go too crazy and completely neglect our goals, because the summertime can be a great opportunity to progress in life. So I think the approach that I'm going to try taking for the rest of the summer is the following. On weekdays, I'm going to do my normal routine, wake up early, get the deep work done, night routine, etc. So on weekends, I'm going to start Saturday morning with my normal routine for kind of the first half of the day. I'm going to wake up at a decent hour, get some deep work done, go to the gym, so I can really take advantage of my day off from my full-time job. And then starting Saturday afternoon all the way through Sunday evening, I'm going to be off work. And by off work, I mean not working at all on my YouTube channel or business like I normally might do on the weekends, and instead using that time to enjoy life, spend time with my girlfriend, exploring New York City and having a good time this summer. And then at the end of the week, usually Sunday evening when I do my weekly review, I will plan out what the fun activity or outing that I'll be doing for the next weekend is. That way, throughout the week when I'm doing kind of my normal routine, working hard, I have something to look forward to the following weekend. I'm also expecting that by taking Sunday completely off, I'll be that much more excited to get back to work on Monday morning. So I'll keep you updated on how this goes throughout the rest of the summer, and also keep an eye out for maybe some POV lifestyle, more vlog type videos where I showcase me actually doing the things that I talk about in my videos, kind of practicing what I preach instead of always just talking about the general concepts to the camera like this, if that makes sense. I'm imagining that this might be, on top of these types of videos, of course, might be another way to kind of inspire you to make changes in your own lifestyle by seeing me actually kind of live my life. I don't know if that sounds like a stupid idea, let me know, but that kind of video also every now and then helps me get inspired as well, so I think I'll try it out. Step 7 is to optimize the timing. To bring everything together, we simply need to take all the components that we've talked about and figure out times for when we're going to do them. You can just make a simple table in your notes app, or what I personally like to do is to use my calendar to kind of block out this general routine, so that way I can visually see how much time I have and where it's being dedicated to. And when blocking out my routine on my calendar like this, I like to keep it high level and just write the general activity that I'm going to do, so like deep work session, rather than the specific task, if that makes sense, kind of like our schedules back in grade school. So I'd start with blocking out the timing of things in this order. First, job/school. If you work a full-time job or have school or something, this is kind of like a set non-negotiable block of time, so I would just put that in first. Next, I would put in your morning routine, so like when you're gonna wake up and start the day, and I would pick a time that allows you to get at least 1 hour of deep work done before your main commitments for the day. So if you have a day job or school, it would be waking up early enough so that you can fit in 1 hour deep work session before your job. This might sound kind of crazy and unrealistic right now if you're not really a morning person, but I promise you this is kind of where the magic happens if you're trying to pursue any sort of goal outside of your major time commitments. Next up, put in your night routine, and this goes beyond just setting a bedtime like 8 hours before you wake up. Think of all the different things that you need to do before you actually, put your head on the pillow and close your eyes. Make sure you allow enough time to get all these things done at a leisurely pace before your bedtime. We really want to avoid feeling kind of rushed or stressed right before we sleep. Next, simply add in that 1 hour block for your morning deep work session, just right after your morning routine. And I also like to make a rule for myself that until this deep work block is done, I'm not allowed to check any messages, social media, email, anything like that. Next up, exercise. Just add in that 30-minute to 1 hour window where you're gonna do some form of physical activity. Depending on what your routine looks like so far, the optimal timing for this is gonna be different for everyone. And I really don't think there's some magic better time for when you work out. Really just whatever time allows you to most enjoy your workout and stay consistent with the habit. Finally, relaxation, friends, and family. At this point, your weekly routine is probably looking pretty filled up, but I like to just lastly block in those evening times or time on weekends to spend high quality time with people in my life and also just to relax and enjoy my life. And if you're using a calendar, you can make all these different blocks kind of repeat themselves throughout the week, send you alerts, and you can move them around as needed. Redesigning your life and working hard on your goals doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice your life enjoyment. And if you're aligning your life to meaningful goals and have a well-optimized routine, you can definitely make significant progress towards your goals while still enjoying these summer months. If you'd like to discuss this topic with other like-minded people on the same path as you, or you have questions for me, every time I post one of these videos, I also post a full written guide into my free online community, Miles Ahead. That's the top link in the description. Go click that right now to join. Do something today that your future self would thank you for.